Hi, this is David. Sir David. Sorry, I forgot my name. It's the new name that you received in the temple today, this day. Oh, God. I like that. I'm not an elder David anymore. I'm not a president David. I'm just a shit-ass David. And now, the English government has made me Sir David. Kind of like a Camelot guy. I fantasize myself as Sir Lancelot. That's mental illness, man, in its best. I look in there, Sir Lancelot, the rest of you look and you go, shit, look at that old bastard. Listen, I was in the restaurant a couple of minutes ago, the buffet, and they try to close those doors before I get there, but I snuck in under the door. And I was sitting there, and I ate down at the other buffet in Provo the other day, Orm, Chuckarama. And I sat there and watched the LDS families. Now, let me be honest. Those young families between 20 and 30 years old with 9,000 car seats and 67,000 kids in those seats are nice people. They're sweet people. They got no idea they're being screwed with a slow poison. They really don't. These are people that are good people. They want to be better, and they believe what the Mormon Church and doctrine tells them. It's not true, but it takes many, many years to see the truth. Once you get into a cult, it's milk before meat. You have to learn to walk before you can run. What that really is we lie and we never tell the truth. So I just want to be clear. There's some, oh my gosh, some of their children are just beautiful. Inbred children. If the parents are good looking, the kid is good looking. Anyway, let me say a couple of positive things. They are good people, and they're duped. There's no doubt about it. They're duped. These old bastards that are up there in Salt Lake give themselves six-figure incomes and perks and life insurance and retirement. Oh, God, it's sickening. They build a $5 billion mall and tell these poor 22-year-olds that are struggling to pay tithing, we didn't use your tithing. We bought that with monopoly money. Anyway, I also wanted to say something else good about the Mormon Church, and I know a couple of you have fallen off your chair with that statement, but I'm going to be truthful. I have seen more damn movement in the Mormon Church doctrine, policies, and procedures in the last 3 months than I've ever seen in 50 years, a half a century. Unbelievable. They can drink Coke and Pepsi now. And caffeine has nothing to do with the word of wisdom. Jesus finally made that clear to Monson. There's other kinds of things. I'm not going to go into it. But I saw something I never thought I would see. We had a little flood. Well, it was little to me because I'm way up high. No, I live in the basement floor. Tell the Danites, our place flooded. But anyway, over in Saratoga Springs, which is, you know, south of Salt Lake there, over by Bluffdale, and Saratoga and Eagle Mountain in Bluffdale has a lot of FLDS in it. They have a lot of polygamous wives, a lot of big houses. When you have a bathroom, or a house with 32 bathrooms in it, most real estate people will try to sell it to another polygamous family. Most of us don't want 32 bathrooms. But anyway, they had a flood over there. It was terrible. And it was like Saturday or Friday night. And oh my gosh, houses were full of mud and water and whatever. And it was, you know, people were displaced. I have never in my lifetime seen the Mormon Church cancel Sunday meetings. Never have seen it. They canceled the Sunday meetings in the area and asked the members of the church. They didn't pay any money for cleanup crews. The members of the church who were not cleaning toilets had to go over and pick up trash and the mud. Now that's a good thing. That's what churches should do. That's why the Mormon Church is not mainstream. They don't do enough of that. But with old Mitt, the twit, running, they're trying to be normal. It's hard because they don't know what normal is. But that made me feel good, and it makes me feel good to have to report that they've done some reasonably good things. They canceled Sunday meetings, and all the members in the wards, which were quite a few, probably 1,000, went over there and picked up mud and got those people back on their feet. And I'm proud of that. And I think that's what a church is all about. Now, that town that flooded was Mia Love's town, the one that spoke at the GOP National Convention, the black gal. And I didn't see her pushing any shovels with mud. But anyway, she's running, I think, for the Senate. And she's, you know, bouncing off of that GOP speech that she gave. And she's been a little busy to pick up mud. But anyway, that's a good thing about what happened. A new report on Desert Industries. I was just over there 20 minutes ago. The church is out of money. There's no doubt. I used to go in DI, and you could buy almost anything for $5, $10, or $15. I don't care if it's a chest of drawers, a vibrator. You could buy anything over there for $5, $10, $15. Not now. Not now. The church is out of money. They have more than doubled the prices. I saw stuff over there that I used to be able to buy for $10. Now it's $25. And I saw something over there today, like this thing here. This goes over a bed. I just put it in the office because I like the mirror. $135. This one here, I think I paid $25 for. So it's my testimony. The church is out of money. That's why they fired the janitors. They can't afford to pay them, and now they're trying to make a little profit at DI. So I didn't buy anything. No, screw it. I'm not buying anything at DI. Now, another new report. You've seen one of my other videos about this little family that I thought was going to shun us. That when they found out that we weren't Mormons or atheists, that they were going to yank their kids out of here. I was wrong. I was wrong. They haven't done that. Now, they're either inactive or resigned or never have been Mormons. So I missed that. When the husband said to me his brother went on a mission, he hadn't told me yet that he was adopted. So I was wrong in judging them so quickly. They've been over to our house now a couple of times. The wife came over, and she was wearing, and she's a beautiful girl. These are Samoan people, and that brown skin drives me crazy. And she had on just a halter top. And so it's hard to wear a halter top and garments underneath. That looks silly. But, you know, hey, she wants to be silly. No, she didn't have garments on at all. She didn't. Pretty little gal and wonderful children. So at this point, again, I'm going to report. When I'm wrong, you're not going to see very many of these tapes that I say that I'm wrong. But sometimes I am. Sometimes I am. And I make a bad judgment. Well, that was a bad judgment. They seem like they're going to be good neighbors and good friends. The kids were over here playing Wii the other day, and my kids have been playing basketball with them, and so it's gone very, very well. Well, let me tell you what went through my mind at the restaurant, okay? I was looking at a couple of people. You can tell Mormons, at least I can. It's kind of like if you breed horses, when you look at a horse, you know if that's a good one or a bad one. And I can kind of see Mormons because they got that shit-ass look on their face, like they want to fight, and why are you looking at us? Well, I spotted a guy there in the buffet, and he was walking across, and I'm just always quiet. I enjoy watching people and thinking. Watching people and thinking. And as he was walking across, I looked at him, and oh, he looked right at me, like I had no right to be looking at him. It triggered my mind. I always am interested. Why the hell do people join a cult? Or the Mormon Church? Why do they do that? I've said they're losers. I've said they're emotionally needy. Those things are all true. I have one more to add. Many of them, not all of them, because, you know, I've got a couple of Mormons on my comments right now. They haven't learned, you know, I'm just going to ignore them. They're kind of like preparation age. They smell bad. And, you know, when I was young, I didn't even know what preparation age was. And my wife, she's from the Philippines. She thought it was a toothpaste. And then she said I was talking like an asshole. So, I don't know. Anyway, I think these people are the nerds. I think they're people who had very, very low self-esteem. They're coming from alcoholic families, or they're coming from drug-addicted families, or single-parent families. They did poorly in school, and they were ugly, and or the kids made fun of them. Now think about it. Why would a nerd want to join the Mormon Church? It makes sense. With my psychological background and training, they become bigger in an organization than they are. They also have protection, which they didn't have in junior high and high school. Somebody would pants them, and or they, you know, give them an atomic wedgie, and the kids would go home with his underwear up around his eyebrows. Well, once they join the Mormon Church, now they feel powerful, and now they feel empowered, and they feel that they're going to be gods. Now, the Mormon Church has changed their doctrine on this in the last 2 weeks. Okay, you're not going to be a god anymore. We didn't say that. Well, they did say it, and Brigham and Joseph and the rest, but they're trying to bury that. But anyway, when you take a nerd and you put a suit on them, and you make them dress covering up their bodies, the girls especially, with the fat asses and the fat ankles and no boobs, that gives them all self-esteem. And they never were chosen the first on a basketball team or out there for PE. They were always last. And the kids always laughed and made fun of them. Well, now they're called president. They're called counselor. They're called superintendent. They're called prophets, seers, and revelators. They have a priesthood, a power, which is invisible and is really not there, but they think it's there. And so when I was told, and they still say this all the time in the Mormon Church, to the deacons, you have more power than the President of the United States, because you can bless, or you can pass the sacrament. You can't bless the sacrament until you're a priest in the Aaronic priesthood. Well, here you are. You know, here you are, 16, 14, I think you're a teacher at 14, so you're called a teacher when you're 14. 16, I think you're called a priest. Well, if you're a nerd at school, you'd want to go to church and be called a teacher and a priest and the president of the elders' quorum or the president of the deacons' quorum. Those titles all fill you up where you were empty, So I'm saying to myself in the restaurant, this guy looked at me like he was a nerd in 6th grade. He looked like he had an atomic wedgie mark across here. And he was saying to me with telepathy, I'm not that nerd I used to be. I'm in the high priest, not the low priest. I'm in the high priest quorum. And I represent the temple. I'm a temple worker. Only the very best get in there, and I have a little recommend that says how good I am. These are people that couldn't get degrees. They're people, you know, I have my degrees here on the wall, but they certainly don't ruin my life. But if I had a little tiny piece of paper that said, you know, temple recommend, I'd put it on the wall and put glass over it. So they feel that they've been looked at and passed as worthy, and that they're going to be gods. Well, you take a nerd and tell him he's going to, or her and him, be gods. Hey, I want to join that church. 10% cheap for me to get some self-esteem. Well, I'm thinking the other thing. Why so many damn children? Okay, now, I'm not one to speak. I was in there for 50 years, and I have 14 children between 4 or 5 wives. I don't remember. I think 5. No, I think 6. It doesn't matter. The principle is too many. And too many children. Well, I was told that that's the beginning of my kingdom. When I leave here, I'll already be ahead of most guys that only have 2 or 3 kids. So that was a high motivation for me to go, hey, over here, babe, let's make another one. I can't afford it. I don't have a good job. and I'm mentally ill, and I'm diabetic, and you know, I have heart problems, but God, let's make another baby. Mormon theology, Mormon logic. So, I have to say, I did have low self-esteem. I wasn't a nerd. I don't think. Maybe I was. I don't know. I don't know. Do nerds know? Well, on the Revenge of the nerds knew they were nerds. So, if I had been a nerd, I think I would have known. No one made fun of me, but no one befriended me either. I was a loner, just like I am today. I have one friend, my wife, and that's enough. That's enough. And I was cool. I had a 57 Chevy, and I worked for it. I painted it black, cruised, looked for chicks. But when I found them, I didn't know what to do with them. I was a Mormon. So, but I looked like the other guys. And my grades were not great. They were B and C's. I certainly wasn't in intellect. I didn't get in trouble. I was only in the principal's office about 600 times. I knew guys that were in there 1,000. So, now, I didn't start fires. I've never been arrested. My juvenile record has been expunged. No, I don't have any juvenile record. But anyway, I didn't have a large self-esteem. I liked girls ever since 5th grade. I've been crazy about girls and the equipment that they seem to carry with them. And I was interested in girls, but I was a Mormon, so it wasn't like I could be that interested in a girl. And so I went through life as a person up to 19. My first marriage was at 19. Now, I'll tell you something. I hate to say it, but the reason I got married at 19 was that all the guys at BYU were going on missions and coming home. And everyone looked at me and thought, well, he isn't going on a mission because the little general has been a bad boy. It wasn't true. But that's what the Mormons thought, and I was feeling that pressure, that social pressure, that I had to prove I was worthy. So, if I got married in a Mormon temple, that means I got a recommend, I was paying my tithing, and I was morally clean, at least physically. In here I wasn't, but physically I was. So I got married at 19 because I did not want that pressure at BYU. When I was sitting in an elders quorum meeting, they'd always go, well, when I was on my mission at Kolob, we converted 900 aliens. I couldn't say that, but I could say, well, when my wife and I got married in the temple, the little general came alive. I'm telling you, I did it because I had low self-esteem. I ruined my wife's life, and 2 of my first children, I ruined their life because of the Mormon Church. That's what I thought. That's what I believe, and I acted on that information. Well, I also acted on the information that the more children that I had, the bigger my kingdom would be when I left the earth, and I certainly wanted to be at the front of the line, and the little general had no objection. So, there it is, 14 kids. So, in summary here, what I'm trying to say is I knew these people were emotionally needy. I knew these people wanted to be safe in a group where they knew what to say, they knew how to act, and no one would make fun of them. What more than a cult? What more than a cult? As long as they shut their mouth, bow their heads, and say yes, they're going to be accepted. But when they were in school and out in the real world, they were not accepted. And so there's the draw of the cult. I remember there was a family that investigated the church in Ojai, California, O-J-A-I, and she was very, very wealthy. She had a son my age, who I certainly tried to befriend, but he looked at me and goes, you're a loser, I'm out of here. Him and his mom looked at the church, came over to a couple of meetings, then they went home. They go, no, it's not for us. These people had enough money, enough time, enough energy, and enough education and sense. They didn't need what the Mormons were selling. They had good self-esteem. And the silliness of the circus, they weren't going to get involved in. So, I believe they were nerds. Most of the members of the church. Now, this also explains Romney and other famous Mormons. Okay? Just because he made money, I mean, a monkey can make money. Monkeys can get lucky and make money. I think that these high leaders and the successful people are kind of like Donald Trump. They were nerds, and they're still nerds inside. Half of them are nerd, and half of them are rich. And richness covers up the nerdiness. I'm thinking of Donald Trump, and I'm thinking of, Turner. Ted W. Turner. Of course, he married my girlfriend, Jane Fonda, but, you know, I didn't want to go to the war in Vietnam anyway, so I was cheering for Jane. But there's two guys right there that are very money-oriented, successful, and we're nerds. And we're made fun of, and we don't get over that. When we're bashed in junior high and high school and elementary and maybe even in college or the world, when the kids won't come over and play with us, and every time they choose up teams, we're the last one on the list, that is a lasting psychological impression on a human being. And I don't care how much you line up success with money, success with a business, success with this or that, that little piece of your heart and that little piece of your mind is still hurt. Is still hurt. Now, again, I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. I had one friend. He was older than I was, Al. And he let me drive his car when I was only 15. But in California, you could drive at 15 if you had an 18-year-old or older with you. So I befriended Al. Not that I wanted to use him, but I did. I remember at high school, I would get in my car at lunchtime and I'd go down by the river. I'd put on the Beach Boys and I'd get out a can of polish and black paint, and I would, you know, detail my car. That was the most fun thing I had to do. I didn't want to sit in the cafeteria alone, probably, or if I went over with a tray and tried to sit down, everybody else got up and left. You know, I took baths at least once a month. There was no reason for that kind of crap. But anyway, I didn't want rejection. I couldn't handle rejection. And I avoided rejection because I was a good member of the Mormon Church, and I was accepted over there. Not fully, because I was bipolar, but you know, they don't throw you out for being mentally ill. If you follow the rules, even though you follow them strangely, most of the time you can stay. So I couldn't take rejection. Now here I am, 63 years old, and if I'd stayed in the Mormon Church, which I did for 50 years, I was under the auspices of the bishop. He could throw my ass out of the church, take my family away, and ruin my life, and trigger that low self-esteem and rejection, just like that. Well, once I resigned from the Mormon Church and started to learn how to be in real society, which took me 4 or 5 years, when I went out in the real world, people looked at me and go, "You are really a strange bird." And I tried to fly a couple of times, but I don't think there was any reason to call me a strange bird. But I was. I went on the computer to ex-Mormon, let's see, what is it? Jeez, I use it every damn day. Recovery from Mormonism. Recovery from Mormonism. And I was so obnoxious on there. Now, those people get 1 million hits a day. Do you know how often they throw somebody off of there? How often they back up over the bus and run them over again? I was kicked off of there. I would try to log in and it would give me, you know, the ugly signs. And they warned me, and I thought, well, I can do what I want. I'm a Mormon, screw you. And I found out I couldn't. And I had to relearn social skills. And that was hard. And I'm still learning them. I get on this YouTube, and sometimes I say something that's inappropriate, something that sometimes may not be true. I try to correct that. If I find anything I've said or implied it's not true, I try to correct that, because I don't want people quoting me and then they go, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So anyway, when I left the Mormon Church, I began to get some self-esteem, and I began to decide I was going to live a life I wanted to live, not a life that is dictated to me. I was tired of being told to wear certain underwear. I was tired that if I wanted a glass of wine now and then, that I couldn't do that, that I'd lose my family. I was tired of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday meetings. I didn't have time for myself, my family, my wife, and I was just running like a chicken with its head cut off. Well, a long story short, you see me on here. And that's a sad story. I have no life. This has turned out to be my life. I put my teddy bear down about a year ago. My little Allison, she has a favorite rabbit. I'm a bad dad. I really am. She loves that little rabbit. And when she's gone, I hide it on a lamp, or I put it in a wastebasket. And she'll come in and go, "Dad, where's the rabbit?" I go, "Hey, there's some good news and there's some bad news about that rabbit." And she, "What's the good news?" And I said, "I saved its life." She, "Well, what's the bad news?" And I said, "Well, there was a rabbit monster in here. I don't know where he put that rabbit, but I know it's alive." She looks through the room, under the bed, in the bathtub, and she finds her rabbit. Well, I put my rabbit down, my teddy bear and my rabbit, when I left the Mormon Church. And now I can handle rejection. I have today, I don't know, 123,000 hits, and I've been on here for a year. Why would 123,000 people look at me? And some of them will say nice things. I love it when somebody goes, "Would you adopt me? I'm looking for another child." So if you got one out there, let me know. So anyway, I'm saying I left my teddy bear, and now I have, not hundreds, but I probably have, I don't know, in a year I might have had 150 negative comments. I've had thousands of positive comments, and I don't mind that, 150 negative, because there's a lot of unusual, strange people in the world that may not think I'm handsome and like me. Now, those people have bad judgment. You know that, and I know that. Anyway, I can take rejection now. When somebody says, "You're bald," I go, "Yeah, that means I have no hair. You're right." "You're fat." Yeah. God, I just had a buffet. They wanted to charge me extra. I go, no, it's all you can eat. What I can put in my shirt. But when people say, my family is terrible, or I'm a terrible father, someone said the other day, you taught your kids to hate you. And I just put a little comment in afterwards. I'm glad it worked, because the kids that hate me, I don't want those kids. They're in a cult. Let them be in a cult. And when they die, they can go have Jesus for their father. He did not buy them food or clothing or medical or dental or transportation or schooling. The bastard never bought them anything. I babysat them. I paid for them to be born. And they hate me and love Jesus. What's wrong with this picture? Anyway, I'm saying that the physical and mental makeup of people who join the Mormon Church, I think they're needy, really needy, and I think they might have been nourished. Now, I go over to the school. I was over at the school yesterday to pick up Allison, and I sit there. I always go early, and then I sit there, and I watch. I am telling you, I have never seen so many fat asses in my life. Now, if I sit at home and look in the mirror and watch my ass, then I would probably be a close second. But I'm telling you, when you have a mom pushing a stroller with her foot, with two little kids in it, and one hanging on her boob, and you look at it, and her butt, talk about too much junk in the trunk. This girl has got a dump truck full of rocks. Why? Well, here it is. If you're a girl and nobody dated you when you were junior high and high school, nobody wanted you, you get into college, and the college boys see the same fat ass, the fat ankles, and no boobs, and maybe an ugly face and no hair or whatever. I don't know what other guys want or think. Every beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Blind people have no beauty because there's nothing to see. But anyway, if someone's willing to marry you for time and eternity, that really kind of puffs you up. And they don't see your fat ass. And you go, well, all the other boys saw it, but Mikey Bear, he thinks I'm skinny and beautiful, just like I do. Well, again, these girls are horny as hell. There's no doubt about it. They've had no sexual experience. And so when they get married, the funnest thing they can do is have intercourse, and then a baby comes along 9 months later. Now she's in the group. Now she's in the group. She has the stroller. She has the basket she carries. She has the baby burping up here. And she has proved her ability to reproduce. That gives her a lot of self-esteem. That's why she keeps doing it over and over and over again, to build that self-esteem. And all the girls, I saw it yesterday, my own eyes, in Utah at the elementary school. They don't know each other, but they all have a baby. And they stand in a big circle and they talk about the baby and the labor and their breast and are they breastfeeding. And I'm telling you, you see everything from, you know, I don't know, 20-year-olds to 50-year-olds having all these babies and the kids standing around them. I thought school had let out. It hadn't. They just brought the kids from home to meet the ones that were at school. So self-esteem and rejection is a very, very high motivation for all of us as humans. And we have to be careful. Why do we do what we do? We have to look at ourselves. I married early because I wanted to prove something, that I was morally clean. I didn't want to go on a mission, sleeping with a guy for 2 years and knocking on strangers' door. I like my cars and I like some of that equipment on the girls. I didn't want to do that. But when you're a Mormon, you don't have that choice. You don't have that choice unless you want to pay the consequences. Well, I wanted to get out of the consequences and get married. And I did. And my first wife was a very nice person. And it's just too bad it didn't work out, because we're two people that should have never gotten married. So anyway, that's my speech on the Mormons and why people become Mormons and why I was subjected to that group. And now I can handle rejection. And I expect rejection out there in the world. When I read my comments, I know that 90% of them are going to be good. 10% are going to be Mormons that say, you're a liar, that's not true. It doesn't bother me, because I've read and I've studied and I know that I'm not lying, and I know what I'm saying to you is true. If it's not to them, that's because of their self-esteem and ego. They're not allowed to be looking at my videos. They can get excommunicated looking at them. So when they make comments, I have a certain degree of hope that they're hearing something or seeing something that will motivate them towards their own research. And then let them decide for themselves. If the Mormon boat floats their boat, hey, get on the boat, make sure you carry a life jacket. If it doesn't, then that's their own personal decision. But anyway, let's take a look at what we do and why we do it, what the motivation is. Then I think we can grow. I think we can be better people. Thanks.